Four more people were arraigned in court today of electronic banking fraud. Three of them are accused of conspiracy to commit a felony of stealing 24.5 million shillings from Consolidated Bank.
Today, four suspects were charged with the electronic theft of 25 million shillings from Consolidated Bank. And as Dorcas Wangera reports, Family Bank now...
By 2013, Kenyans were losing 55.5 million shillings averagely every day in a ring of fraud that threatened the growth of the banking sector.
With others to alter 22 clients' prepaid card balances, thereby causing loss of 294 million shillings to Family Bank of Kenya. The second suspect, Ruben Toomey, is accused of conspiring with others to alter...
The shocking revelations by independent analysts and bank insiders show that innovative fraudsters use the most sophisticated technology to steal from banks. The ring of former bank employees, in collusion with the bank staff, incessantly conceive new tricks, making it hard for regulators to effectively monitor and check the scam.
My name is Mzim Wells, and this is the Stay Woke series. It's been a while since we did our last video. Karibuni sana to this another episode, season 3 of our Stay Woke series. Today talking about how banks steal from clients. Yep, how banks steal from you. No mincing words, let's get straight into the video.
They fleeced banks through automated teller machines, ATMs, suppression of customer deposits, fraudulent conversion of checks, and deceitful transfer and withdrawal of deposits. In some cash machines in Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Eldoret, the fraudsters used tempered credit or debit card readers to copy the magnetic stripe from a payment card, while a hidden camera captures the numbers on the face of the card. The data recorded by the cameras and card stripe readers are subsequently used to produce duplicate cards that are used to make ATM withdrawals from the victims' accounts. Possibly, it is check fraud that could drain banks of their much-needed revenues. Through the newly conceived check kiting, a check is deposited to a bank account and the money is made available immediately, even though it is not removed from the account on which the check is drawn until it clears. It involves intentionally writing a check for value greater than the account balance from an account in one bank, then writing a check from another account in another bank, also with non-sufficient funds, with the second check serving to cover the non-existent funds from the first account. The Central Bank of Kenya, CBK, says that within 2 hours of receiving customers' instruction, commercial banks must execute it. The no-delay plan means banks will have to strengthen their internal controls if they are to beat the fast-rising fraud cases. Interestingly, check transactions are not controlled by banks. As a result, fraudsters could collude with rogue printers to alter important security features.
Since checks are truncated, it means the corresponding bank does not receive the real check, but its image. It therefore gives a smooth avenue to cons,
said a CBK insider. Check truncation is a conversion of physical check into a substitute electronic form for transmission to the paying bank. Major banks with a larger customer base could be the most affected, as their capacity to contact the customers individually to verify certain transactions is limited. But it is the coming into play of straight-through processing STP that will give banks sleepless nights. Traditionally, SWIFT transactions involve the inputter, verifier, and the authorizer. The input level involves keying in all of the information for transaction to be effected. They include the amount, currency, receiver, sender, account number, and addresses. For big banks, input functions are carried out at the branch level. In small banks, all the three functions are done at the head office. The verifier independently checks and validates the information fed into the transaction before it is directed to the authorizer. This is a senior level role carried out by operations or forex managers. In other banks, this is the duty of the chief operating officer.
With the launch of STP inputting, verification and authorization will need a keener and accurate eye. Fraud will definitely be hatched at the input level. However, the transaction must have the authorizers and verifiers' blessings.
A bank dealer said. The most common scam in SWIFT, experts say, involve bank insiders opening dormant accounts with virtually similar names as those of customers who frequently carry out the transactions. Take for example Mutinda Macau with account number 101112 in a local bank. A bank insider may opt to open an account in the same bank as Mr. Macau with account number say 161920. The new account will have an almost a similar name, say Mutai Macau. At the input level, instead of putting M for Mutinda Macau, the inputter feeds in the system M for Mutai Macau. With blessings from the verifier and the authorizer, the money will eventually land into account number 161920. In most cases, the amount put will be the one Mr. Macau frequently sends. This is aimed at minimizing suspicions in the transaction.
This is the harvesting ground for fraudsters,
said an anti-banking fraud unit officer. According to CBK's Banking Fraud Investigations Department, BFID, financial institutions lost 1.5 billion from customers' accounts between April 2012 and April 2013. That's a period of 1 year. However, critics say the figure could be about 30% of the total losses banks encounter through fraud.
Banks are cautious when it comes to reporting on fraud. They seldom disclose fully what they have lost. Instead, they deal with them internally. That is why the figure is as small as it is despite the rising number and scale of theft in banks,
said a member of BFID. Perhaps this explains why, despite our multiple requests for fraud statistics from CBK, our emails and telephone calls went unattended to. The grim picture in the banking sector is painted by investigations which reveal that fraud has been rising almost in tandem with the expansion of banks. Then Deloitte's Director of Forensic and Litigation Support, Robert Nyamo, said the sophisticated cartels of fraudsters, some of them operating outside Kenya, are working day in, day out to beat anti-fraud walls erected by banks.
They are determined to succeed. They have invested heavily in these criminal arts. They even hold conferences and seminars to discuss how to defraud banks,
said Mr. Nyamo. A local bank fraudulently lost 7.53 million shillings through an international money transfer outfit. Sources at the bank say the money was paid out in a European country. In this case, a total of 22 money transfer deposit transactions were purported to have been made in 3 days running between April 5th and April 7th of 2013. Some 356,875.95 shillings was blocked on the system due to compliance issue. In-depth investigations indicate that deposits were made into the system using a terminal ID belonging to local owners whose names are known. The money transfer logins seen by the media show that the transaction were executed at 3 internet protocol IP addresses, the bank branch, a nursing school, and a city cyber cafe. The cyber cafe deal was sealed on a Sunday using an individual's password, yet it is alleged that he was not on duty. The branch transaction was executed using a certificate installed in by another individual who later claimed to have been off work.
This is indicative that the machines used to perpetrate fraud were not those in the bank's premises. It only confirms how sophisticated fraudsters are evolving,
says the bank source knowledge with the fraud. The Standard Media established that 5 members of staff at the bank were dismissed as a result of the incident. They include managers and officers at the bank's money transfer services. According to Mr. Nyamo, most fraud cases arise due to the fact that bank insiders collude with technologically rich hackers.
There are minimum cases of robberies in banks or thefts of cash in transit. Today, 99% of frauds involve technology.
He said, the most common one is the use of dormant accounts. Here, funds are moved from one point to another until it leaves the bank to confuse the system. The inactive accounts are also used as conduits in the transfer of stolen funds.
It is unusual for the loot to be cashed in on the same bank because the fraudsters want to hide the trail of where the money has ended.
Mr. Nyamo said, experts say the money is normally cashed in regions with weak banking regulatory regimes such as South America, Asia and West Africa. According to Kenya Bankers Association then CEO Habilo Laka, individual banks should put in an elaborate internal control system to ensure that the system is not interfered with.